Hey, what's up again, everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, GundamReviews.net, and even though the Gundam games are taking up most of the attention on gundam.tk this week, Gundam AGE is still airing, and episode 42 on Sunday introduced a new character or something like that, so I thought I'd introduce a special guest in the form of Jet Drag. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Not too bad, thanks. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and we're going to get into your best ofs for this new episode. So, character of the week. It seemed like there was one character that may have been mentioned once or twice. I think they said their name a couple of times, maybe even the episode title. What was it? G something? Girard Spriggan.
But
it turns out, thankfully, they looked her up on Wikipedia and find out that she had a different name before that.
She did.
So what did you think? Girard, was she introduced too late in the series, or what did you think?
You know what? I think it was a little too late. I think they could have introduced her earlier. They could have had that whole episode dedicated to her just like this one, and it wouldn't have been in the middle of a big fight. I think it really threw things off from the focus right now.
In terms of the character, I thought they did a pretty good job of trying to make you feel why she'd be in pain enough to just all of a sudden throw away the Federation, where we've seen some signs that they're not necessarily the good guys they're made out to be. But anyway, what do you think? Will she be somebody that'll stand up to Kyo, or who could she become the rival with as things go on?
You know, right now it's hard to say. She could be a bitter enemy, or she can be a friend. I mean, it's really hard to say where this is going to go. What's Kyo going to do? We're going to have to check out next week.
Well, moving on, probably the other character that caught my eye, of course, Fram Nara. Anyway, it's always good to see that kind of rivalry. That reminds me of Zeta Gundam, where even if they're defecting or not, they're still going to have a rivalry, although not necessarily for the lead antagonist's intentions. And anybody else catch your eye?
There was some sketchy dude. The name escapes me. Was it Simmons?
Yeah, this isn't a name that seems to be worth looking up. But yeah, for the last 3 episodes, ever since the moon base sold out, there's been that sketchy-looking guy who obviously looks like he was going to be a traitor. And did you see his scene in the hallway when he's just standing there?
Yeah, you know, I didn't recognize him at first because I'm used to just seeing that guilty picture up on the backsplash of that screen every time they go to the command deck.
Well, I look forward to seeing him get his comeuppance soon. So moving on, Mobile Suit of the Week. Well, Girard Spriggan took up the majority of the character time. What did you think of the Thielva, or the Tielva?
Yeah, you know what? It reminded me a lot of a G Bouncer.
I wonder where you got that impression from. But you know what? I liked that color scheme, and I'm not sure if it's the same as the Shell doll. Or earlier on, we had somebody flying around, that blue-haired guy who was Zehart's assistant or something when he was a kid hanging out in high school. So I like the color scheme for it. What did you think of the weapons, those 2 large bits that seem to just blast off the back and can do all sorts of stuff?
You know what? They were pretty cool. They did a good job of showing what they can do early on in the episode, so we got an idea of its capabilities, and it's really neat seeing, you know, another X-Rounder making use of that.
Yeah, it's sort of cool. In First Gundam, when they introduced more new types towards the end, specifically for Amuro to fight, it was sort of good to see a little bit more of the X-Rounder and their suits. We haven't seen a lot of bits, but all of a sudden they seem to be coming out in bundles. But I did sort of like the way she just cut through some clanches at the beginning, so it had a good debut. And you have to wonder about the model sales if they're just not good enough, because this episode seemed designed to sell that MS in high-grade mode, and no word whether we're even going to be getting a release in the future.
That's hard to say. I think I'd be more interested in picking up a mint-colored G Bouncer if those come on sale.
Now, is that the kind of thing, would you pick it up online, or is that something you'd want to custom paint yourself?
You know, if it wasn't available, I'd custom paint it myself. But I mean, you know, if they sold it.
And would you go for 2?
You'd have to go for 2.
In terms of other mobile suits that caught the eye, how about the Farsha? Didn't think too much of it. It's not that different from the Farsha. It was cool seeing the 2 sets of bits fight Kyo's FX's bits. And what did you think of the Age 1 getting another wear to, what is it, 50 years old now?
You know what? It's aged well.
That's good.
The Age 1 has aged well. You know what? It was really cool because it reminded me of the Alex.
Yes, and what was it? The Chobam armor? I don't think I've ever said that word out loud, but it was cool to see. Not as fortressy as I expected, a little bit more Alex. So anyway, the Age 1 FA, again, a question of whether we'll get a model in the future. In terms of Scene of the Week, I don't know how long this discussion's going to be. Were there any scenes that really stood out for you in this episode compared to any other?
Flit's crazy eyes. I mean, we've seen it in the past couple episodes, but you know what? It just makes me think of Kill 'Em All Tamino.
Yeah, Kill 'Em All Flit Asuno. We've never seen that in a protagonist before. And, you know, something I did like, the backstory I thought was better than expected. They did a good job of giving you... she dominated the episode, and, well, they made her a little bit sympathetic. You can understand why. Was she supposed to be the pilot of the H1? I don't know. But the other one that really caught my eye is all of the X-Rounders mind blast each other, and all of a sudden Asum just had his run of the playing field. He could have just chopped through everybody at that point. So sometimes super pilot, better than being, well, he is a super pirate, better than being an X-rounder.
You know what? I'm just glad that they said GIRARD SPRIGGAN at least 20 times, because I couldn't figure out that character's name.
It was like they were trying to make her into an important character or something. You know, maybe we'll get a movie named after her, Gundam AGE.
GIRARD SPRIGGAN.
So overall, JD, what did you think about this episode?
You know, I got a few thoughts. Like I said, I think it's a little bit out of place. We're seeing this big backstory for what seems to be an important character they're trying to introduce, and really it seems like they could have made this an episode on their own when they were traveling out somewhere in space that could have come back in this big battle, and we could have not had an interruption. Other thoughts, I'm thinking after seeing those Minchi bouncers and seeing some test pilots, some side stories in Gundam AGE universe would be kind of cool. Just seeing kind of what else is going on in the Federation. That was a neat side story.
Yeah. And this made me think a little bit about Shanna Lua. Remember they had Kyo Senpai, who turned to be bad because she got a pocket full of cash because her sister was sick?
Right.
It seems like they've introduced a few of these characters, but they could have combined some of them. They could have played this out a little bit longer. Could not Shanna Lua, instead of dying on the battlefield, replace GIRARD SPRIGGAN, and then you don't have to throw in a new character in episode 42 when there's only 10 left?
It seems interesting. I think now that it's getting closer to the end, we're feeling a bit more of a headlong rush for them trying to get in these ideas that they want to get in. And some of the suits.
And something that's going to be fun to keep an eye on is who's going to be fighting who in the final battles. I remember watching 00 in the first season and wondering who the final series antagonist was going to be. Who was Setsuna going to fight in the final fight? Anyway, there's lots to speculate there, because now you've got to get 3 dancing partners for all 3 of the protagonists. Or maybe Flit's crazy eyes will just do the dancing on their own. All right. Anyway, everybody, thanks a lot for watching Jet Drag. Thanks a lot for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see you again. Don't forget to check out Gundam Games. Vote for your favorite Gundam series. Will Gundam AGE continue on to the quarterfinals? Anyway, everybody, as always, thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye.